Indoor Matters with Damien and Sarah.
Welcome back to Indoor Matters, the podcast where we tackle what matters to your indoor health. I'm Damien, and I'm excited to be back with you for another insightful episode. Today we're diving into a topic that might sound a bit like something out of a science fiction movie, but trust me, it's very real and could be impacting your health right now: mycotoxins. And joining me again to help us unpack this fascinating, albeit slightly unsettling topic is Sarah, our resident indoor environmental expert.
Always a pleasure to be here, Damien.
Absolutely.
Ready to unravel the mysteries of mycotoxins.
Absolutely. And before we get started, a quick shout out to our amazing sponsor, Saniservice, Dubai's only indoor environmental health quality management company. They've been helping people in Dubai create healthier homes and workplaces since 2009, and they're the real deal when it comes to indoor air quality. If you're concerned about the air you're breathing, check them out at Saniservice.com. And don't forget to mention Indoor Matters for a special discount on their testing services. Now, Sarah, let's get into it. What exactly are mycotoxins, and why should we be concerned about them, especially here in Dubai, with all our modern air-conditioned buildings?
Well, mycotoxins are essentially toxic byproducts produced by certain types of mold. You know, those common molds we find in homes like Aspergillus fusarium and Stachybotrys.
Wow.
Think of them like the mold's defense mechanism. They're not intentionally trying to make us sick. They're just trying to survive in their environment. But the problem is those same survival tools can have some pretty nasty effects on our health.
Okay, so they're like tiny little ninjas defending their territory.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And they're tough little ninjas. One of the things that makes mycotoxins so concerning is their persistence. They're incredibly stable, meaning they can withstand extreme temperatures, pH levels, and even some chemical treatments. You know how we're always battling dust here in Dubai.
Right.
Well, mycotoxins love to hitch a ride on those tiny dust particles. And since we spend so much time indoors with air conditioning, we're essentially breathing them in day after day.
So even if I've taken care of visible mold in my home, these mycotoxins could still be lurking in the dust, just waiting to be inhaled.
Exactly.
That's a rather disturbing thought.
It is unsettling, and it's not just about immediate symptoms, although those can be a problem too. We're talking about long-term exposure potentially leading to chronic health issues, and that's especially concerning for vulnerable populations like children, the elderly, and those with compromised immune systems.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. What kind of health problems are we talking about here? What happens when we're exposed to these mycotoxins?
Well, the impact can vary depending on the type of mycotoxin and the level of exposure. Some mycotoxins, like mycotoxins, affect the respiratory system, potentially leading to lung irritation and difficulty breathing. Imagine a child with recurring respiratory problems and doctors are baffled. It could be that trichothecines in the home are contributing to the issue.
That's a scary thought, and I know we hear a lot about air quality concerns in Dubai, especially with all the construction and desert dust. But we don't often think about these microscopic toxins floating around in our homes.
Right, and it's not just about those immediate acute effects. Some mycotoxins can have long-term consequences. For example, aflatoxin B1 has been linked to liver cancer.
Oh, wow.
It's insidious because it doesn't cause immediate symptoms, but over time it can damage DNA and increase the risk of cancer
It
development.
looks like a slow, silent attack on our health.
Exactly. And it's not just the liver. Other mycotoxins can impact the nervous system, hormones, and even the immune system. They can disrupt the body's natural processes, making us more susceptible to illness and disease.
So we're talking about a whole range of potential health issues, from respiratory problems to cancer to autoimmune disorders.
Yes, and it's important to remember that we're constantly exposed to a mix of different mycotoxins, and sometimes they can have synergistic effects, meaning their combined impact is greater than the sum of their individual effects.
This is starting to feel like a scene from a dystopian novel where invisible toxins are slowly poisoning us from the inside out.
Well, it's not quite that dramatic, but it is something we need to be aware of.
Right.
And thankfully, we're learning more and more about mycotoxins and how to protect ourselves from their harmful effects.
Okay, that's a relief. But how exactly do we protect ourselves from these microscopic ninjas? We've talked about them clinging to dust particles. Does that mean our trusty HEPA filters are useless?
HEPA filters are definitely helpful. They can capture those larger dust particles that mycotoxins love to ride on. But the problem is that some mycotoxins are small enough to slip through the filter on their own. Plus, the filters themselves can become contaminated if they're not properly maintained. So it's not a foolproof solution.
So even if I'm diligently changing my HEPA filters, I'm not necessarily safe from these tiny mycotoxins. What else can we do? Is there any hope?
There is.
Okay, good.
We've come a long way in terms of mycotoxin remediation. Traditional methods like using bleach or other common disinfectants aren't very effective against mycotoxins. In fact, some chemicals can actually make certain mycotoxins more toxic.
Wait, so our attempts to clean and disinfect could actually be making the problem worse?
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
I know it's frustrating, but don't worry, there are more advanced solutions available that can effectively target and neutralize mycotoxins.
Okay, tell me more about these advanced solutions. What's the latest and greatest in the fight against mycotoxins?
Well, one promising technology is called cold atmospheric plasma, or CIP for short. Think of it like this. Imagine a microscopic army of Pac-Man going after those mycotoxins and gobbling them up.
Okay, now that's an analogy I can get behind. So CAP is like the ultimate mycotoxin exterminator.
You could say that it's been shown to be highly effective in degrading specific mycotoxins, for example. It can degrade up to 98.7% of aflatoxin B1.
That's impressive. So CAP is like the superhero of mycotoxin remediation.
Another impressive technology is called two-pole active ionization, or TPA. It's a triple threat against mycotoxins. It disrupts the viability of mold spores, preventing future contamination.
Wow, TPA sounds like a real powerhouse, but does it actually work?
Yes, data collected from households right here in Dubai showed that TPA systems were able to reduce airborne ochratoxin A by 94% within just 48 hours.
That's incredible. So CAP and TPA are like the dynamic duo of mycotoxin remediation.
Exactly. They each offer different mechanisms for tackling the problem, but when used together, they create a comprehensive approach that can significantly reduce mycotoxin levels in your home.
This is all great news, but how do we even know if we have a mycotoxin problem in the first place?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. There are specific tests available to detect and measure mycotoxins in your home.
So if we suspect we might have a mycotoxin issue, we can get professional testing to confirm it. But once we have the results, what's the next step? How do we actually get rid of these stubborn mycotoxins?
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is where a company like Saniservice comes in.
Absolutely. Saniservice takes an integrated approach to mycotoxin remediation, combining the best technologies and expertise. They'll use a combination of CAP treatment, TPA air sanitization, and even enzymatic detoxification to break down those mycotoxins and make your home a safer place.
So it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. They customize the solution based on the specific mycotoxins present.
Precisely. They analyze your test results and develop a tailored remediation plan that addresses your specific needs. And they don't just treat the air, they also focus on surface hygiene and HVAC system cleaning to eliminate those hidden reservoirs of mycotoxins.
It sounds like Saniservice is really leading the way in mycotoxin remediation here in the UAE. But what kind of results can people expect after undergoing this type of remediation? Is it really possible to get rid of those mycotoxins completely?
While complete elimination is difficult, Saniservice's hybrid remediation approach has achieved clearance rates of up to 99.4% within 72 hours.
Wow, that's incredible.
Great.
But how do they ensure that those mycotoxins don't come back? Is there any way to prevent future contamination?
That's where post-remediation testing and ongoing maintenance services come in. They verify the effectiveness of the treatment, identify any areas of concern, and help maintain a healthy indoor environment to minimize the risk of future contamination.
This is all incredibly valuable information, Sarah. You've really opened our eyes to the hidden threat of mycotoxins and given us hope that there are effective solutions out there. But before we wrap up this part of our conversation, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about Dubai and its unique environment with all the sand and dust we have here. How does that factor into the mycotoxin equation?
Yeah, that's a great question, Damien, and it's something we should definitely be mindful of. Dubai's desert environment definitely presents some unique challenges when it comes to indoor air quality. The constant influx of sand and dust means we're constantly battling those tiny particles that mycotoxins love to cling to. Plus, with our reliance on air conditioning, we're often recirculating that same air, potentially spreading those mycotoxins throughout our homes and workplaces.
So it's like we're creating a perfect storm for mycotoxin exposure.
In a way, yes, but the good news is awareness is growing and people are becoming more proactive about addressing indoor air quality concerns. And that's where companies like Saniservice are making a real difference. They understand the specific challenges we face here in Dubai and offer tailored solutions to help create healthier indoor environments.
Speaking of challenges, Ramadan is just around the corner, and that means lots of gatherings with friends and family, often in enclosed spaces. Should we be worried about mycotoxin exposure during these gatherings?
It's definitely something to be mindful of. Remember, it's not just about avoiding those immediate symptoms we talked about. Think about the long-term impact on our health. We're living in these modern enclosed environments, spending so much time in air-conditioned spaces. If there are mycotoxins present, we're being exposed day after day, week after week. It's like a slow drip of toxins that our bodies have to constantly deal with.
It's a scary thought. We often focus on the obvious things like dust and allergens. But these mycotoxins are like silent assassins slowly chipping away at our health without us even realizing it.
That's why it's so important to raise awareness about this issue. People need to understand that mold remediation is just the first step we have to address the mycotoxins themselves if we truly want to create a healthy indoor environment.
And thankfully, with these advanced technologies like CAP and TPA, we're finally equipped to fight back against these invisible enemies. It's like we've leveled up in the battle for indoor air quality.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be in this field. We're seeing real progress in our ability to detect, measure, and eliminate these harmful toxins.
It's like we're finally taking control of our indoor environment instead of letting these microscopic invaders dictate our health.
Precisely. And that's empowering. It means we have the tools and the knowledge to create healthier, safer spaces for ourselves and our loved ones, especially during Ramadan when we're sharing our homes and meals with loved ones. It's reassuring to know that we can take steps to protect their health as well.
Absolutely. So what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners today, Sarah? What's the one thing you want them to remember about mycotoxins?
I think the most important message is that mycotoxins are a real and present danger in our indoor environments. They're not just a problem in old, damp buildings. They can be present in even the most modern and seemingly clean homes, and they can have a significant impact on our health, both in the short and long term. So don't ignore the problem. Be proactive. Get your home tested, and if you find mycotoxins, take steps to remediate them. Your health is worth it.
Wise words, Sarah. Wise words. And to our listeners, remember, if you have any concerns about your indoor environment, reach out to the experts at Saniservice. They're the leading authority on indoor environmental health here in the UAE, and they can help you create a healthier, safer home for you and your family.
And don't forget to mention Indoor Matters for a discount on their testing services.
Of course, we've got to take advantage of those perks, right? All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on Indoor Matters, where we tackle what matters to your indoor health. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions and expert advice on creating healthier homes and happier lives.
And with all the delicious food and late-night gatherings during Ramadan, it's easy to forget about the potential impact on our indoor air quality. Think about all those fragrant spices, the cooking fumes, and the increased occupancy in our homes. It all adds up.
That's true. We're so focused on the festivities and the social aspects of Ramadan that we might overlook these seemingly minor details. But as we've learned today, those details can have a big impact on our health, especially when it comes to mycotoxins.
Exactly. And it's not just about the immediate discomfort of things like allergies or respiratory irritation. It's about the long-term cumulative effects of exposure to these toxins, especially here in Dubai, where we spend so much time indoors. We need to be extra vigilant about our indoor environment.
And as we enjoy this special time with our families, let's not forget about those who might be more vulnerable to the effects of mycotoxins.
That's a crucial point. We've talked about children and immunocompromised individuals, but we should also consider the elderly who might have weakened immune systems or underlying health conditions that make them more susceptible.
It's a good reminder that we need to be mindful of everyone's health, especially during gatherings where we're sharing indoor spaces. It makes you think how many unexplained health issues in Dubai could be linked to chronic low-dose mycotoxin exposure. We're living in these modern enclosed environments, breathing recirculated air, and often unaware of what's lurking in our homes.
It's a question worth pondering. We've come a long way in understanding indoor air quality, but there's still so much we don't know. Mycotoxins are just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a significant one, and it highlights the importance of taking a holistic approach to our health.
Absolutely. We need to be proactive, not reactive. Instead of waiting until we experience symptoms, we should be taking steps to prevent exposure in the first place. And thankfully, with the knowledge and technologies we have available today, we can make a real difference.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, and by understanding the risks, we can empower ourselves to create healthier, safer homes for ourselves and our families.
Well said. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. You've given us a lot to think about and hopefully inspired our listeners to take action.
It's been my pleasure. Always happy to shed light on these important topics.
And to our listeners, remember, don't let those invisible mycotoxin invaders ruin your Ramadan gatherings or your overall health. Be informed. Be proactive and take control of your indoor environment. Thanks for joining us on Indoor Matters, where we tackle what matters to your indoor health. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions and expert advice on creating healthier homes and happier lives.